This is the story of Carol Bennett, a woman who thought her life was stable, until betrayal, greed, and secrets shattered her world. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I just want to say thank you for being here. Your support means the world, and every like, comment, and share helps me keep bringing these incredible stories to life. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a story like this. You ever wake up thinking it's just another quiet morning, only to find your whole world has vanished overnight? That was me, standing barefoot in my kitchen, coffee gone cold in my hand, staring out the window at an empty garage. The space where Dennis's 1967 Shelby GT 500 used to gleam like a blue jewel gone. Just gone. For a second, I thought I was still dreaming. Dennis and I had spent years rebuilding that car together, every nut, every bolt, every single chrome detail. It wasn't just a car. It was him. His laughter, his stubbornness, his soul. And now, after his death, it was all I had left. I ran outside, heart pounding so loud it hurt. The driveway looked too clean, too quiet. My fingers trembled as I called my son. "Brian," I whispered, "do you know where the car is?" There was silence, then a heavy exhale. "Mom, don't freak out, okay?" That tone, I felt it before he even said it. I sold it. Everything inside me went still, like my heart just turned to ice. "You what?" "I needed the money, Mom. Vanessa and she's been talking about starting fresh. Paris, maybe. She said it's what Dad would have wanted for me to live my life." My voice cracked. "Your father would have wanted you to protect what he built, not throw it away for a weekend in Paris." Brian hung up before I could say another word. I stood there, shaking, feeling this mix of rage and grief boiling inside me. That night, I didn't sleep. I walked into Dennis's old study, his scent still lingering, that faint smell of oil and coffee. I sat at his desk and stared at an old photo of us leaning against the Shelby, laughing, grease stains all over our clothes. My tears blurred the edges of his smile. I whispered, "What did you see in her, Dennis? Why couldn't I?" That's when the phone rang. The number was unknown. I almost didn't answer, but something, instinct maybe, told me to. "Mrs. Bennett," a man's voice said, rough, low, familiar somehow. "This is Tom Graves. I was Dennis's friend. He told me if anything ever happened to him to call you." My pulse skipped. "Tom, Dennis mentioned you. You ran the classic car dealership, right?" He hesitated. "Yes, and I think we need to talk. It's about your husband and about Vanessa." My heart thudded in my ears. "What about her?" Tom sighed. "Dennis didn't just restore that Shelby. He hid something in it, something he didn't trust anyone else to protect." For the first time in months, I felt the smallest spark of something stronger than grief, curiosity, maybe even anger sharpened into purpose. "What did he hide?" I whispered. Tom's voice dropped. "Proof about who Vanessa really is." The line went silent. My mind spun. Proof about Vanessa. I looked out at the dark garage again, empty and echoing. Maybe losing the Shelby wasn't just loss. Maybe it was the start of something Dennis planned all along. And just like that, I knew, if there was truth buried in that car, I was going to find it, whatever it took. The night was too quiet after Tom hung up. I stared at my phone in disbelief. His words replayed in my head. "There's something hidden in the Shelby, Carol, trust me." For a moment, that silence felt heavier than grief. I let out a shaky laugh. Hidden in the car he loved. I sank onto the couch, mind racing. Tom Graves, a friend from Dennis's car club and the man who helped us restore that Shelby, said my husband left me a gift in that car. My throat tightened. Dennis always had surprises, but the Shelby was gone now, sold out from under me by Brian and that stranger, Vanessa. Was it too late? I cradled the phone, the receiver cold in my hand. His voice still sounded like Dennis's best friend, calm but urgent. According to Tom, Dad must have known Vanessa was a liar, a con artist. He said Dennis had uncovered proof of her crimes and hidden it. That's why he left clues for me, maybe in the trunk or behind the dash. Tears pricked my eyes. Anger and hope crashed together in my chest. A growl of thunder rolled outside. Rain pounded against the windows as if urging me forward. I can't give up. Dennis devoted himself to this mission. What would he want me to do? My fists clenched on the phone. Find it. I pulled up Vanessa's name on my laptop, fingers trembling. The search results offered only corporate websites and event photos, no personal profiles, no past records. It was like she'd scrubbed her trail. A chill ran down my spine. How do you find someone who doesn't exist online? I sighed, realizing I'd have to resort to old-fashioned detective work. Just then, a soft knock at the door broke my thoughts. It was my neighbor, Mabel, face lined with concern. She stepped inside with a to-go cup of tea. "How are you, dear?" she asked gently. I managed a shaky smile and we sat at the kitchen table. She didn't know everything, but she knew Dennis. "He was such a good man," Mabel said quietly. "He wouldn't leave you nothing." Those kind words anchored me. I took a deep breath, remembering Dennis's laugh echoing in our garage, the way he'd proudly touch the Shelby's hood. Turning back to my laptop, determination settled in me. I owed this to his memory and to myself. After Mabel left, I returned to Dennis's things for clues. His office was a mess of papers, but one notebook caught my eye, dusty, forgotten in the closet. With trembling fingers, I opened it. Out flowed Dennis's neat handwriting, maintenance logs for the Shelby dinner plans, and then a note that made my heart skip. Names and addresses scribbled in margins, one that stood out. Vanessa Clark, Las Vegas, Redwood scent. My breath caught. Vanessa Clark. Did she lie about her past? I quickly jotted it down. The pieces were scattered, but there. I felt Dennis's presence guiding me through every clue. A sudden ding from my computer startled me. A new email arrived from an unknown address. The subject line read, "Shelby GT 500 important." My heart thumped. Was Tom reaching out with more information? My thumb hovered over the message. This could be the clue I've been waiting for. Before I could click, the lights flickered and everything went dark, plunging the kitchen into silence. In that momentary blackout, I realized this journey was far from over. The power came back with a hum and a flicker, but by then, my heart was already racing. I stared at that email on my screen's subject line, "Shelby GT 500 important." My fingers hovered over the mouse. "Come on, Carol, click it." The message opened slowly, line by line, as if the words themselves were scared to come out. "If you're reading this, it means Dennis was right. Vanessa isn't who she says she is. I have something you need to see. Meet me tomorrow at 11 a.m. Old Creek Diner. Don't bring anyone. TJ." Tom Graves. My stomach twisted. Don't bring anyone. What the hell did Dennis get tangled in before he died? I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Dennis's voice, soft, steady, the way he used to calm me down when I panicked over little things. "You're stronger than you think, Carol." By morning, I was already halfway dressed before the sun came up. I grabbed Dennis's old leather jacket, still smelled faintly of motor oil and aftershave, and hit the road. The sky was gray, moody, like it knew secrets too. The diner sat off the highway, surrounded by wet asphalt and the hiss of rain. I spotted Tom instantly, older now, rougher, with a weary look that told me he'd been carrying something heavy. "Carol," he said, standing to hug me. His voice cracked just slightly. "Dennis wanted me to look out for you. He knew something was wrong before he passed." Hearing that made my throat tighten. "He told you about Vanessa." Tom nodded. "He didn't trust her, not from the start. I think he tried to warn Brian, but your son was too blinded. Loved as that." He sighed, shaking his head. Dennis started digging. Background checks, photos, even hired a private investigator named Peter Coleman. Vanessa Clark wasn't her first name, not even her third. My breath caught. She's done this before. Tom slid a manila envelope across the table. Inside were photographs, blurry but damning. Vanessa, with different hairstyles, standing beside other men, older, all smiling the same foolish smile Brian once wore. These were from Peter. Two of those men lost everything. Their businesses, homes, one even took his life. A bitter taste filled my mouth. My pulse pounded so hard it hurt. She did this to them, and now she's doing it to us. Tom nodded grimly. Dennis found out right before he got sick. He didn't want to tell Brian until he had proof, but time ran out. I stared down at the photos. My hands shook, but not from fear. Rage burned through me, steady and cold. Dennis had tried to protect us, and she'd fooled us all. Not anymore. Tom leaned closer. Dennis hid a flash drive inside the Shelby, right under the driver's seat behind a custom panel. It has everything: bank transfers, IDs, marriage certificates, even her fake passports. My jaw clenched, but the car's gone. Brian sold it. Tom exhaled, rubbing his temples. I know, but I tracked the buyer. He's in Arizona. I can get us there if you're willing. I froze. Arizona, hundreds of miles away. But the thought of that car sitting somewhere, holding the truth Dennis died protecting, it made something snap inside me. I'm not just willing, I said, my voice low and certain. I'm coming for her. Tom's eyes softened with a kind of sorrowful pride. That's the Carol Dennis believed in. As I left the diner, rain spattering my jacket, I could almost feel Dennis walking beside me. The Shelby wasn't gone. It was waiting for me to finish what he started. I looked up at the gray sky and whispered, I'll bring her down, Dennis, for you. But somewhere deep down, a chill ran through me. Because if Vanessa really was the predator Tom said she was, she wouldn't go down without a fight. And she didn't even know I was coming. The hum of the highway filled the silence between Tom and me. Miles of cracked asphalt stretched ahead, and I couldn't stop tapping my fingers against the steering wheel. Every exit sign felt like it was dragging me closer to something that could change everything or destroy what was left of me. Tom stared out the window, the reflection of passing lights slicing across his face. You sure about this, Carol? Once we open that car, there's no turning back. I gave a half laugh, sharp and tired. Tom, I lost my husband. My son sold his legacy for a plane ticket. Turning back stopped being an option a long time ago. He didn't argue. The road stretched on. Somewhere between Texas and the Arizona border, the air turned dry and electric, dust swirling around us like ghosts. I couldn't shake the feeling Dennis was riding with us, quiet, protective, still guiding me. We stopped at a rundown motel just outside Phoenix. Neon lights flickered like a heartbeat on life support. I dropped onto the bed, exhausted, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slow circles. Tom sat across from me, scrolling through his phone. The buyer's name is Jason Hale, classic car collector, paid cash. Picked the Shelby up from a private auction Brian's contact set up. I closed my eyes. Figures. Vanessa probably pushed him to sell quick before I found out. Tom looked at me carefully. You still haven't told Brian you're doing this. My chest tightened. Because I don't trust him right now, not until he faces what he did. I paused. But I'm not giving up on him, just not yet. The next morning, we reached Jason Hale's property, a sprawling desert estate with rusted classics lining the drive like museum pieces. The Shelby sat in the middle, sunlight hitting the chrome just right, and for a second, I forgot to breathe. Hey, a voice called out. Jason Hale stepped out from behind a pickup, tall, weathered, maybe mid-50s. Can I help you? Tom flashed a polite smile. We're here about the Shelby GT 500. Belonged to Dennis Bennett. Jason's brow furrowed. Ah, yeah, beautiful piece of work. Bought it from a young couple, Brian and Vanessa, right? Hearing her name made my stomach twist. Yes, that car belonged to my late husband. There's something personal inside it I need to retrieve. Jason hesitated. Look, ma'am, I'm not looking to sell. I don't want to buy, I interrupted. Just 5 minutes, please. My voice cracked on the last word. That did it. Jason nodded. All right, 5 minutes. As he handed me the keys, I walked up to the Shelby, tracing my fingers over the blue paint. Hey, love, I whispered softly. I'm here. I slid into the driver's seat, the leather creaking under me. My heart pounded. Beneath the steering column, there it was, a small custom panel, almost invisible unless you knew where to look. Tom helped pry it loose. Inside, wrapped in a piece of oil-stained cloth, was a flash drive. My throat closed. He really did it. Tom exhaled a low whistle. He left you everything. I stared at that tiny silver drive resting in my palm, trembling slightly. Dennis's last secret, his last protection. But before I could process the weight of it, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have gone looking for me, Carol." My heart stopped cold. Tom leaned over. "Who's that?" I turned the screen toward him. One word flashed across the bottom as another message came through. "Vanessa." The desert sun suddenly felt colder. My hands shook as I shoved the phone into my pocket. "Tom," I whispered, voice trembling, "she knows." He glanced toward the horizon, scanning the quiet desert road. "Then we need to move fast before she makes her next move." And deep down, I knew this wasn't just about uncovering the truth anymore. It was about surviving it. In the dim light of the motel room, Tom and I hunched over the laptop. Vanessa's text still burned in my pocket. "I know what you're up to." Answers mattered more. I inserted the flash drive. Files appeared, documents, photos, and one folder named "For Carol." My heart hammered as I clicked it open. A video file stood out at the top. My breath caught. Dennis's face appeared on screen, alive and looking at me. He began softly, "If you're seeing this, I'm probably gone. I'm sorry I never told you everything. Vanessa, she's dangerous. She got in too deep. There was nothing I could do." He looked directly at the camera, eyes pleading. "But I love you, Carol, always have." The image faded to black. I stayed frozen as Dennis's last frame lingered. Every word hung in the silence between us, and the truth of it cut through me. Tears welled up. Vanessa was right, she was dangerous, and now I knew she had killed Dennis. Tom's hand was on my back. "He loved you," he said gently. I closed the laptop, stomach twisting. He was gone, and we had only this warning. I reopened the drive. A chill ran through me when I saw the next folder. Evidence, Vanessa's victims. Inside were photos of smiling families next to headlines like "Mysterious Phoenix Crash" and "Family Dies in Fire." Each file detailed a tragedy, a car crash, a house fire, a man found dead, and buried in each story was Vanessa's name. She appeared in police mugshots and tearful interviews, always playing the grieving friend. For each photo, a knot of horror tightened in my stomach. One by one, I recognized the pattern. Someone trusted Vanessa, and tragedy struck. A video clip made my blood run cold. A distraught woman on the phone pleaded, "Please, you promised to find him." Vanessa's calm voice promised protection, soothing and confident. The scene cut to Vanessa on TV, tears in her eyes for the cameras. I realized with horror how she played the hero, then pulled the trigger. Tom closed the laptop and met my eyes. "They thought she saved them," he said softly. "But in the end, she destroyed them." Grief and rage crashed through me. How many had trusted that smile only to be betrayed? My chest tightened. I sobbed quietly as Tom hugged me. My mind snapped to Brian. What if Vanessa had already turned him against me? "We will finish this," Tom murmured, and I nodded, determination hardening inside me. The room fell silent except for the old air conditioner. My phone buzzed again, an unknown number. I stared at it, heart in my throat. I didn't answer. My blood ran cold. Vanessa had found us. We weren't safe, not here. Outside, headlights swept across the curtains. Tom glanced at me. "We should go, Carol, now." I grabbed the drive and my phone, and we slipped out into the dark Arizona night. My pulse pounded. Vanessa was close, closer than ever now that we had her secrets. I realized with a sinking certainty, the storm she promised was just beginning. The motel room felt colder than usual, even with the heater humming. Every shadow seemed sharper, every sound amplified. I kept the flash drive pressed against my chest, like Dennis had left it there not just for information, but as a shield. Tom was packing near the window, glancing at every passing car. "Carol, you're tense," he said, eyes narrowing. "She's clever. She'll know you have the drive." I let out a bitter laugh, low and dry. "She already knows, Tom. That text, she's playing with me. She's enjoying this." We didn't sleep. Instead, we went over the files again, memorizing names, faces, and dates. Every victim had been meticulously manipulated. Vanessa's pattern was precise, cold, almost surgical. She didn't just swindle. She studied people, calculated their weaknesses, and used them like a chessboard. My pulse quickened thinking about Brian. How long before she turned him back against me? I pressed my palms to my face, inhaling sharply. Dennis saw this coming. His video, his notes, every clue. He anticipated her every move. But anticipation doesn't stop fear. My chest ached, a mix of grief and anger, wondering if Dennis had felt the same shiver I felt whenever I imagined Vanessa's calm, sharp smile. Then it started, the calls. First, a ring that cut through the silence. I snatched up my phone, unknown number. "Nice to see you're curious, Carol." No name, no pause, just cold. I exhaled slowly. "She's close," I muttered. Tom stiffened. Minutes later, another message. "You think you're clever, but clever isn't enough." I wanted to throw the phone across the room, but instead I sat frozen. She didn't need to make a threat. The words alone were enough. Every sentence carefully phrased, calculated to make me doubt myself. Was I overreacting, paranoid, or was she really watching me? Tom crouched beside me. "She's testing us, seeing how far you'll go." My jaw tightened. "Then let's give her a show." I stood abruptly, gripping the flash drive. My fingers trembled, not from fear, from determination. Hours later, I practiced scenarios, planning my moves, every step precise. Vanessa had built traps, but I had Dennis's plan and my resolve. And slowly, a strange calm took over. Fear was still there, yes, but anger sharpened it into focus. Every name on the flash drive, every photo, every calculated lie, Vanessa had left footprints. And I intended to follow them step by step. Just as the sun began to rise, painting the desert in cold pink light, my phone buzzed again. I froze before even looking. "You're getting close, too close." I swallowed hard. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just a warning anymore. Vanessa knew everything we were doing. She had entered the game, and suddenly I felt the pieces move on the board around me. Tom leaned over, voice low. "She's waiting for a mistake. One wrong move and she'll vanish before we even know it." I clenched my fists. Then she's about to learn that I'm not a piece to move. Outside, the desert stretched endless and quiet, but I could feel it. Vanessa's mind, calculating, cold, waiting. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about survival. And she's already 3 moves ahead. Part 7, Tracing Shadows. The desert morning was quiet, almost too quiet. I kept the flash drive pressed against my chest like armor as Tom drove us to the next lead, a small law office in Phoenix that Dennis had flagged. Each turn in the road made my stomach twist. Vanessa's reach wasn't just long, it was precise, surgical, and I could feel it, like a shadow breathing down my neck. Tom glanced at me. "You okay?" I laughed, bitter and short. "No, but okay isn't part of this anymore." We arrived and a young paralegal met us, nervous and polite. "You're here about Vanessa Clark?" she asked. My hands clenched around the flash drive. "Yes, she's connected to some of my husband's files. We need everything, cases, complaints, any paper trail." As she handed over a small stack of folders, I scanned the documents. Fraud cases, missing funds, even personal letters from victims. Each one was a thread in a web that Vanessa had spun, carefully, deliberately, without leaving a single obvious trace. My pulse quickened. This woman wasn't just cunning. She was methodical, almost surgical. I flipped through a folder and froze. One letter typed neatly, addressed to my dearest friends, sounded like her usual charm, but the postscript read, "Obedience is temporary, secrets last forever." Goosebumps crawled up my arms. This wasn't just manipulation. This was a game to her, and I was in it. Back in the car, Tom whispered, "She's watching. That text you got this morning, not random, she wants you unsettled." I exhaled sharply. Good, then she'll see I'm not afraid. But even as I said it, I felt that icy knot in my stomach. Vanessa had a way of getting inside your head, making you doubt yourself, making you feel like any move you made was already predicted. Hours passed as we traced her victims' addresses and cross-referenced them with Dennis's notes. Each one led to another, like a chain reaction. One woman had moved twice in 6 months to escape Vanessa's influence. A man had changed his phone number and gone off the grid. But the details were enough to start building a pattern, enough to find her. I closed my eyes for a moment. "Dennis, what did you see that I could? How did you know this woman so well?" I whispered, the desert wind rattling the car windows. He had known Vanessa was brilliant in the cruelest way possible, but he had left me the tools to fight, and fight I would. Tom glanced at me with that look he always had, the one that said, "You're your father's daughter, no matter what." "We have one chance," he said quietly. "We need to be precise or she'll disappear before we get close." I felt my jaw tighten. "Then we do it her way, carefully, slowly. She'll make a mistake and I'll be ready." As we drove past a dry wash, my phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. My heart thudded. I ignored it, but curiosity clawed at me. Seconds later, the message arrived. "You're getting closer. Don't think you're safe." A shiver ran down my spine. This wasn't just warning. It was a promise. I gripped the steering wheel, teeth clenched. "She's playing the long game," I murmured. "But I'm still moving. I'm still here." Tom's eyes met mine, and she doesn't even know what's coming next. Somewhere in the back of my mind, a plan was forming. Each folder, each clue, each name was a stepping stone to Vanessa, and I could feel it, like a storm gathering quietly just out of sight. The desert stretched endless and silent around us, but I could sense her presence, invisible yet undeniable. Vanessa had set the board, and now I was moving my first piece. And she wouldn't see it coming. The days blurred together as we followed Vanessa's trail, each lead feeling like a ghost we couldn't quite touch. I slept little, ate less, but every moment of exhaustion sharpened my focus. Vanessa's brilliance was frightening, her calm calculated, but I could see the cracks forming, tiny fissures in the armor she wore so well. Tom and I rented a small apartment near her last known location. We kept the blinds drawn, lights dim, as if hiding from the world itself. Every knock, every car engine rev made me flinch. My nerves hummed like electricity in the desert night. But beneath the fear was something hotter, determination. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about justice for Dennis, for Brian, and for the lives Vanessa had ruined. I spent hours reviewing the flash drive, mapping connections, patterns, behaviors. Every victim, every manipulated soul traced back to Vanessa. The web she had spun was impressive, almost beautiful in its precision. But beauty doesn't protect the guilty from consequences. Then we saw it, a name repeated, a location overlooked. A storage unit she'd used in Phoenix, supposedly empty, supposedly abandoned. But the flash drive didn't lie. "She's hiding something there," I whispered, excitement mingling with unease. Tom looked at me sharply. "Are you sure? Once we go there, there's no turning back. She's clever, Carol. She's going to know if we're close." I clenched my fists. Then we make her think she's in control, until she is. We approached the storage unit late at night, the desert air slicing through the car windows. Shadows stretched across the asphalt, making every small movement look like an ambush. My pulse thrummed in my ears. We entered quietly. The rows of units felt endless, like a labyrinth designed to disorient and trap. But the numbers Dennis left in his notebook were precise. Unit 47. I reached for the lock and froze. A voice, soft and deliberate, echoed behind us. "Looking for me, Carol." My stomach dropped. There she was, Vanessa. Calm, poised like a predator stepping into her territory. Her eyes glimmered with amusement. "I have to admit, I didn't expect you to last this long." Tom stepped in front of me, protective, but I raised a hand. "No, let me." Vanessa tilted her head, smiling faintly. "You think you can outsmart me? Dennis left you a trail, yes, but you're following breadcrumbs. I've set traps in every step you take." I felt my chest tighten, then slowly, deliberately, I smiled. "Maybe, or maybe you just underestimated me." Her smile faltered for a fraction of a second. That was all I needed. Inside the unit, crates labeled with her alias names, evidence, money transfers, photographs. All of it, her empire of lies, exposed in one small room. Vanessa's eyes flicked over the room, realizing too late that she had been her own undoing. How did you find all this?" I stepped closer, voice steady, cold. "Dennis showed me. He trusted me. And you trusted no one but yourself. That's your mistake." Her lips tightened. I could see the calculation running behind her calm facade. But the cracks were widening. She knew she couldn't flee anymore, not with everything she had built lying in plain sight. The air was thick with tension. One wrong move and this could explode into violence, but Vanessa was no longer in control. I held up the flash drive. Everything you hid, everything you lied about, it's coming out. And this time there's nowhere to hide. Her eyes narrowed, and for the first time I saw real fear flicker across her face. And for the first time, I felt the storm I had been building finally start to crash down on her. The air in the storage unit was thick, electric, every breath a reminder that we were on the edge. Vanessa stood frozen, her carefully constructed mask of calm crumbling. The crates of evidence, documents, photos, and records of her victims surrounded her like walls closing in. I stepped closer, holding the flash drive like a talisman. It's over, Vanessa. Every lie, every life you ruined, it ends here. Her lips twitched into a bitter smile. You really think this is the end, Carol? You have no idea what I'm capable of. I let out a short, almost amused laugh. Oh, I know exactly what you're capable of, and that's why you're done. Just then, the quiet of the night was broken by the distant wail of sirens. I hadn't called them, but Vanessa's panic told me she hadn't expected backup either. Tom glanced at me, eyes sharp. They're coming! Federal! You did it, Carol. Vanessa's gaze darted around, calculating, frantic. I could almost see the gears turning in her head, trying to escape, manipulate, threaten. But it was too late. The law had her cornered, and for the first time she realized her empire of deception was crumbling. The officers arrived moments later. Vanessa was taken into custody, her calm finally gone, replaced by raw fear and disbelief. I watched her go, a chill running through me, and felt something settle in my chest. Relief, yes, but also closure. Dennis had been vindicated, and justice was finally within reach. Brian arrived shortly after, breathless, guilt written across his face. Mom, I didn't see it. I thought I was helping her. I stepped forward, heart heavy, but determination firm. Brian, she fooled all of us, but now we see the truth. We rebuild from here. He swallowed hard, eyes glistening. I want to make it right, for Dad, for you. We spent the next few weeks sifting through Dennis's old notes, restoring the Shelby GT 500 together. Every polish, every turn of the wrench was therapy, reconnecting us to him, to the love and legacy he left behind. The car gleamed in the sunlight, a symbol not just of Dennis's life, but of our family's resilience. One evening, I sat on the garage steps, Brian beside me. The Shelby shone in the driveway, perfect. He would have been proud, I whispered. Brian nodded, his hand finding mine. We'll keep going, Mom, together. And as the sun dipped behind the horizon, I realized that the storm Vanessa brought had passed. The scars remained, yes, but so did the strength, the love, and the unbreakable bond between mother and son. Dennis's legacy wasn't just the car. It was courage, foresight, and the reminder that even after loss, we can reclaim what truly matters. Vanessa was gone, justice served, and for the first time in months I felt peace. The Shelby GT 500 gleamed, not just with chrome, but with memory, hope, and the knowledge that even after betrayal, truth and love can endure. The game was over, but the lessons would last forever. If you felt the shock, the suspense, or the relief of this story, drop a comment below and let me know what you would have done in Carol's shoes. I read every single one, and your support keeps this channel alive. Don't forget to like this video if you love suspenseful, emotional stories, and hit subscribe for more. I promise to bring you stories that will make you laugh, cry, and sit on the edge of your seat. Thank you for watching, thank you for supporting, and remember, even after betrayal, even after loss, love, courage, and truth always find a way.